All right, we are now up to the first section where we're going to be doing some work. Right, in this section, it's going to be like an accelerated program. I'm going to teach you all the basics that I've noticed with training, I don't know, over 100 people at this point, of the things that they want to be able to do the first time they get the software, right? So the first thing is how do you connect to your data, how to do things like bar charts, line charts, pie charts, the most like fundamental graphics, right? How do you put like, labels on graphics, that kind of thing, some coloring, building a really, really basic dashboard with a few filter buttons, formatting it, you want to change the font, downloading it to a PDF so you can email it out, and finally, in some cases, a really, really simple deep dive. So a deep dive is like you've got a huge amount of data like we have here, and you want to know something in that data. In Tableau, it's so freakishly easy. It's actually fun to do. And I'll show you the technique that I use that is really easy, and it actually results in a dashboard at the end, almost by accident when I figured that out. So we're going to begin with the actual data set. What is the data set? So earlier I mentioned the Superstore data set, and it's this fictitious, shopping center. Not a shopping center. It's more like an Office Works or a Staples kind of thing. So we're just going to go through the data really quickly. And to download this, it's in the course resources. It's either to the left or to the right of where you're watching with this, right? So I'm just going to kind of clean this up just so we can kind of have quick peruse. I always feel a bit classy when I use that word, you know. That word and modicum. I've been using that word lately, like a modicum of detail. Yeah, I don't know. Just makes me feel classy, right? So we have all this data, and there's about 10,000 rows in here. Don't let it scare you, right? If you've only been dealing with 100, 200. One thing you'll learn when it comes to data is that whether it's 10 rows, 100 rows, 100 million rows, right? The rules are the same. If I do a formula on this number, it's going to do it for the rest of it. It doesn't matter how many there are. The only thing that changes is what kind of computing power you need, but that's a whole different course, right? So let's go in and have a look. What you can see is the days till shipping of products, days shipped on schedule, so how many they were supposed to do, how many they actually did. So a KPI analysis would be good here, comparing this value to this value. We can probably do that. Profit per customer, it's in pounds. We've got profit per order, units, shipping status. So you can see it's kind of like it's like a log of how much they've purchased, right? We've got discount, how much is applied. Number of records is just how many records. These will all be one, right? Because I actually exported this from Tableau, so there's not much data in there. We've got the order date, when it occurred, the order ID, the manufacturer who actually produced it for us, oops, too far. No, that's right. The profit, how many quantity, so how many items, what region they're in, oops. Sales, what segment, shipping date, ship mode. So it's a really, really nice, diverse beginner data set. Okay, so that's what's inside. Now we're going to load it up. So let's go ahead and load up this first data set. I'm going to close this. And here we go. So this is the file. Once you've downloaded it, you're going to get this file. And there's two ways to load up your data. And I'll show you both of them. The first, and the one I prefer when I'm showing new people how to do it, is if you grab the file and you just drop it in here. That's it. That's all you got to do. Doesn't matter where you drop it. If you drop it in the blue or in the pictures, it doesn't matter, right? And what you're going to end up with is this. Now, let's say you didn't do this one, right? You're going to do the other method. Let's go ahead and close this. I'll show you the other method now, which is you load up the file. Like you look for it and then you load it up. So let's wait for this to start up. Right. All right. So from here, what you can do is it's a XLSX, so it's an Excel file, and you can just click here on Excel. Right? Now, if it is a CSV or a text file, right, or a TXT, then you're going to be using the text file, which is why I don't really like this one because then I have to actually pick which one it is because sometimes I'll have a text file and I'll click Excel and I end up with something else. Here it's like you just drag and drop anything and then Tableau will figure out the rest. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one just for the example. So I'm going to click Excel. I've got it on my desktop somewhere. Where's a course, Tableau course, and there's my data set. So you can see that if I haven't chosen text, I can't see it. So go open. That's going to do the exact same thing, We go right, and I'm going to explain the three sections to you. This one is the file itself. The first part is what the file name is, so that the entire workbook, and in here are each of the sheets. So if I have 10 sheets, you're going to see 10 items here, right? And then if, let's say this wasn't in here, because this does it automatically. I'm going to do it from scratch. You're going to actually end up with this when you load it up. And you basically want to tell Tableau, well, what data do you want to work with, right? So we're going to tell it we want this sheet. So you drag it into your canvas. Okay, now a little rule which I should have mentioned earlier. When you're loading up information into Tableau, a good rule to follow is, if I open up this data again, or data, right? The headings are on the first row. If it's here and I've got stuff up here, right? Tableau assumes that this is where the column headings or the field headings are, but they're not, right? So you got to make sure that if you have a data set like this, you clear out this top part, right? So you have it all at the top. And if you've got spaces here on the left, make sure you clear out that as well, right? That's it. So let's just close this. All right. And I think it's struggling to save because I'm actually using the file in here, but that's okay. We'll just give it a second. Yep, that's fine. Oop. Right. It's because I'm actually accessing the file here, so you can just ignore that. Right, so we've got our data loaded up, or our data loaded up, and we can now see each of those fields that we went through, right? And Tableau has applied a data type, as you can see, right? And you can change this at will. So sales, you know, if you want it to be a number, you can change it to number. And the reason you'd want to change that is because certain operations work on certain things. So for example, if I'm going to do some sort of arithmetic, it's not going to work on a string or a word, right? I can't multiply north by 5, but I can multiply numbers by 5, right? And that's why you have the data types. If you want to see this in a different view, you just click this one right here, right? So go ahead and click that. Oops, too far. So click that, and you can see it as a list as well. All right. This part you don't have to worry about. We'll cover that in a different section. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You don't have to worry about this, none of this at the moment. And you don't need unions. You don't need that. That's really all you're looking at. Okay. What data you're doing, what the data looks like, and now you're ready to build some graphics. So let's go ahead and go sheet 1 down here. So click sheet 1, and we are now ready to build. So let's leave it there for this section, and now we're going to power through the creation of your first dashboard. Yay!